This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Woo! Hi, everybody. It is the After Party Live on a Hide in Your Cave Monday. Thank you for being here, and I'm so glad that you made it through the weekend, and here we are again. And it looks like you're talking about the Piggly Wiggly, and you know it's a good day when that's the conversation. Hello to you, Yvonne. And the Cupertino Whole Foods is reopening today after it was closed by the health department due to vermin. Ooh. Well, hopefully they got the vermin taken care of and you can go back to your regularly scheduled shopping. Yikes. Hate to hear that. Well, hi, everybody. Thank you for the ways that you contribute to the show. As a matter of fact, teacher Laurie sent in some great stories, and she'll take us to a salt cave today. So I'm excited about that. But first, it might just be an excuse for me to show you the picture because I love some good art. Look at this picture. Now, I hadn't seen this before, and I'm remiss. Maybe I haven't partaken in as much Frida Kahlo art as I should be, but the picture is just fascinating to me. It is a self-portrait. The thinking is this could become the most expensive work by a female artist ever sold at auction. It's called The Dream, the Bed, and it goes under auction at Sotheby's in November. The auctioneers, the auction experts, the art experts are saying this could bring in between $40 and $60 million. And that would be the most a piece by a female artist has ever brought in at auction. Up to $60 million. Yeah. It's titled in Espanol, El Sueño, in parentheses, La Cama, The Dream, the Bed. It is an art piece from 1940, an oil painting, where Frida Kahlo depicts herself asleep in a large four-poster bed with green vines growing and a large skeleton wrapped in explosives and holding a bouquet of flowers on the canopy above her. They say it's not just one of the more important works that she did, but one of a few that exists outside Mexico and that is not in a museum collection. So as both a work of art and an opportunity in the market, it could make it more rare, more special, and could make it more costly as well. So, yeah, that's beautiful. So I took the opportunity. I want to take the opportunity to show you that piece. I have details on the flying squirrel. And I give this, and I don't know if I'm saying the name right, in After Hours Trading, I'll get some wonderful comments by Ranthalling or Ranthalling, and I don't know what the right pronunciation is of the handle. But the last time we talked about the squirrels that are attacking people in Marin County, the comment that Ranthalling made was, these are squirrels with a particular set of skills. And it turns out Ranthalling might have something going on there. The squirrel that sent at least 2 Bay Area residents in Lucas Valley in Marin County to the hospital and injured 5 total was likely raised by humans. This is a story in SF Gate. This aggressive squirrel biting people was likely raised by humans. That's what the wildlife experts are thinking. Now, one of the women who was injured said she was on a walk in a neighborhood when the squirrel clawed at her and bit her legs and left her with wounds concerning enough that she went to the emergency room. She said this squirrel came out of nowhere, didn't even see him running up to her at all. Then another woman, they think, was attacked by the same squirrel walking in the same area with her niece. Squirrel, she said, went from the floor, tried to jump up to my face. So I tried to protect my face, my arm completely overcome by the squirrel. Finally, it jumped off, but I was so full of blood, she said, I went to the emergency room. The Wildlife Rescue Center in San Rafael is called Wild Care. They have experts there that say this squirrel was almost certainly raised by humans as a baby. And the problem is that he doesn't know why some people feed him and others don't. And so he's desperate and scared and hungry, and he's used to being fed by people. So he's approaching people, and unfortunately, when they don't have food for him and they react with fear, then he reacts with desperation. And that, they think, is what has caused these injuries, a really sad situation. They know this, they say, because the folks at Wild Care have seen this kind of thing before, especially with squirrels. They say they're experiencing a flood of squirrels, and when baby squirrels fall from their nests in trees or bushes, humans sometimes take their care into their own hands. But that's not good. And my niece volunteered over the summer with Wild Care, and she was given squirrels to bring home in a little box to take care of, with very specific instructions on how to do it so that the squirrels did not become reliant on humans and would be able to be okay being released into the wild. Wild Care says this: they might look cute, and they say they know there's a lot of TikTok video out there of people raising baby wild animals, and it looks like maybe a really fun thing to do, but actually it's a really cruel thing to do. The squirrel that attacked people in Lucas Valley, they say, hasn't been seen by neighbors for a while and likely lacked the instincts needed to survive and avoid cars and avoid predators, and it likely has passed away. But even if the squirrel was found and captured, it likely would have had to have been euthanized. They say usually when an animal is showing aggression like that, it means he wasn't raised to be tamed. He was raised to not be scared of people. And that is something that they say we cannot treat. So, sad situation for the squirrel. Here I was feeling bad for the humans, and now I feel like we did it to ourselves with this guy. Speaking, though, of people who, they're not Turons. What's a name for them? I don't know. Big dummies? Somebody decided that they needed a bobcat as a pet. I know. I know. You're thinking, not wise. Now authorities in Minnesota are warning that this pet bobcat is on the loose in northern Minnesota. It's in Rousseau County, and the police there said on social media that the State Department of Natural Resources received a report that a bobcat had escaped from its owner. They said if you see this animal, do not approach it. Call the Minnesota wildlife folks or the sheriff's office. The bobcats are categorized as regulated animals in Minnesota. So they are not allowed to be kept unless you're an accredited zoo, you're a wildlife sanctuary, and possibly an individual with a state issued permit. But I can't see them giving that out freely to a bobcat. For somebody who wants a bobcat. I think I'd like a bobcat today. They said it was unclear whether the owner of this escaped bobcat held the proper permits to be an animal. Bobcats don't belong in your house. Nope. So this creature is on the loose and probably, maybe lacks the skill set to survive on its own because it's been with people. Here's a happy animal story. How about this one? The new, this year anyway, bird of New Zealand. The people voted and they have picked this raptor. It is called the Karearea. That's the indigenous Maori name for the New Zealand falcon. It has been crowned Bird of the Year. Yeah, they do this every year. They pick the Bird of the Year. And look at that pretty raptor. Last year, what was it last year? I forget what it was last year. I know we covered it last year. It was a beautiful bird last year as well. But this one is not the cutest bird, but it is a beautiful bird. The Karearea, or the New Zealand falcon, wins the annual poll, which is run by a conservation group, Forest and Bird. They don't just do it on online poll. They actually go out and they stump for their favorite bird. They have human campaigns for the bird. The bird of the year, they said, has grown from a simple email poll in 2005 to a hotly contested cultural moment. Behind the memes and the mayhem, they say, is a serious message. It draws attention to New Zealand's native bird species, 80% of which are designated as being in trouble to some degree. But also, it attracts a lot of attention from people in New Zealand because apparently they're bird obsessed. This is a country with no native land mammals except for 2 species of bats. Birds reign supreme. They are on art, jewelries, in school kids' songs. Even we call New Zealanders Kiwis, right? Another one of the birds there. They said it's not a land of lions, tigers, and bears. The birds in New Zealand are weird and wonderful and not what you would expect to see in other countries. It went from the first contest for Bird of the Year with about 900 votes, 900 people participating, and this year more than 75,000 people in New Zealand cast their ballots, the highest ever turnout. So that was pretty good. There was apparently a controversy in 2021 because a bat won the bird contest, and a bat is not a bird. So that luckily didn't happen this year. They said 87% of the votes in this year's poll came from New Zealand, and the Falcons' more than 14,500 votes appeared to have been won fair and square because they have had some foreign influence in those votes as well. There was a fireball in the sky over California. Lots of people saw it. There's a picture of it. It turns out it was a falling satellite, is what people were seeing. This was in the night sky over Southern California and Nevada, and it was the remains of a Starlink satellite. More than 200 reports came in about this fireball in the sky from San Francisco to Reno. A little before 8 p.m. Thursday night, there weren't any meteor showers expected that night, but the videos captured by people who saw this show this slow-moving object breaking up into smaller pieces as it came further and further toward the Earth. So, the American Meteorological Society did a little looking into it, and they said it's a Starlink satellite falling back to Earth. They said several Starlink satellites are predicted to re-enter the atmosphere, and that was predicted on Thursday evening, so that's very likely what people saw. They talk about trees in the Amazon. What a pretty picture that is. Turns out, and this is a bit of good news, I would say, big trees in the Amazon are more climate resistant than previously believed. The big trees in the Amazon are growing larger, and there's also more of them, so they're more numerous as well. This is according to a new study published in the journal Nature Plants on Thursday. And the study shows how an intact rainforest can help draw carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and sequester it in bark, trunk, branch, and root. The undisturbed tropical vegetation continues to act as an effective carbon sink despite rising temperatures and strong droughts. There are roads being built in these areas, though, the expansion of farms. So all of this is at risk. Fires, land being cleared for various reasons. So it's good news, according to researchers from the University of Leeds, but qualified good news, they said, because the results apply only to intact, mature forests, which is where they are watching closely. And they suggest the Amazon forest is remarkably resilient to climate change. But that could count for little if they can't stop the deforestation, right? Brazil is planning to pave a major road through the central Amazon. close to one of the last regions that still has large areas of pristine forest. Bolivia is trying to clear trees for soy plantations and cattle ranching. So they've got to preserve what they've got there. They can't knock these trees down because they're too important to the world. The study, conducted by almost 100 researchers from 60 universities in Brazil and the UK and other countries, they examined changes in the forest at 188 plots in the Amazon over the last 30 years. They found the mean cross section of trunks thickened by 3.3% per decade, and it was the greatest increase that was found in larger trees. And the expansion was attributed to the rising amount of CO2 in the atmosphere as a result of the human caused burning of gas, oil, and coal. The big trees, the Brazil nut trees, the capocs, they can rise above 30 meters and be the tallest in the canopy. And so they lead the competition among the other plants for the light, water, nutrients, and the need to photosynthesize CO2. The researchers are saying that the results here highlight how best protected areas of the forest remain very important allies to struggle to stabilize climate. And as mentioned, show the importance as well of preventing further deforestation. So, good news, but not all good news. This is weird. You just wonder what in the world did COVID do to us, you know? There's a new study that finds COVID's damage to our sense of smell can actually last for years, and it might be so subtle that you might not even notice it. A study published in the journal JAMA Network Open shows that 4 out of 5 people who reported that COVID had altered their sense of smell still scored low on a clinical scent detection test taken 2 years later. And 2/3 of COVID patients who didn't notice any problems smelling as a result of their infection also scored abnormally low on that smell test. So researchers are saying their findings confirm that people with a history of COVID may be especially at risk for a weakened sense of smell, which they say is an issue already under-recognized in the general population. The study done uh, by one of the lead researchers at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine in New York City. And you might think, big deal, so I can't smell as well. But they say a diminished or lost sense of smell is not actually a small thing, that it's been connected to weight loss, reduced quality of life, and depression. And those who can't smell also might not be able to detect dangers like spoiled food, gas leaks, or smoke. That people with a sense of smell, problems with a sense of smell, can be an early sign of brain disorders like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's as well. They get the information by studying more than 3,500 people, 2,900 of whom had been infected with COVID, 569 who had not. And they took part in this long-term research effort on the effects of COVID. As part of this study, the participants completed surveys about their symptoms every 90 days between October of 2021 and June of 2025. Then they were asked to take a gold standard smell test. They had to identify 40 different scents from a scratch and sniff thing. The results showed 80% of people who'd reported that COVID had altered their sense of smell still scored low on the scent ID test. Of this group, nearly a quarter, 23%, still had no sense of smell that was severely impaired or entirely lost. Many people who thought they'd dodged the bullet when it came to COVID and their sense of smell really hadn't. 66% of the COVID patients who didn't notice any change in their sense of smell scored poorly on the smell sniff test. The results, they say, suggest healthcare providers should consider testing for the loss of smell as a routine part of post COVID care. And that even though patients might not know it right away, a dulled nose can have a profound impact on their mental and physical well being. Now, conversely, 60% of people who never caught COVID also perform poorly on the scent ID test, but it's possible that some of those folks actually had COVID and were never diagnosed because at one point there was, universal testing was rough, right? So now they're looking into ways to restore a sense of smell that's been damaged by COVID, possibly vitamin A supplements or some type of training to rewire the brain's response to odors. But they're looking at understanding the true causes of COVID's impact on sensory systems. And they think that if they can do that well, that it could help improve therapies to restore the smell. Yeah, interesting, because I haven't noticed that my smelling is different, but maybe it's because we don't pay attention enough to that type of thing. I don't know. And we talk umbrellas. They keep trying to get umbrellas tinier and tinier and tinier. And now look at this one. They got it down to the size of an iPhone. This redesigned umbrella is smaller than an iPhone. It's called the Simprella. They say it weighs less than a few Snickers bars. It's a teeny, teeny, tiny little umbrella from a company called Simp Design. And the iPhone-sized umbrella is called the Simprella. And when folded up, which they say only takes a few seconds, the Simp Design people, it can fit into your back pocket. It weighs 173.9 grams, about the equivalent of 3 Snickers bars. It's made of aluminum alloy and stainless steel for durability. The fabric, custom designed to shed water and dry quickly, is made, at least 80% of it is made from recycled materials. They're still working on getting this one out. So far, on a crowdfunding Kickstarter platform, they've raised more than $103,000 to make this teeny tiny little umbrella. I like a little umbrella. Makes it convenient. I still don't know if I'm carrying it around with me, but that's all right. This company, Simp Design, also has designed in the past a portable backpack. Aren't backpacks all portable? Called the Flexi Pro, which fits a lot of different people sizes and then transforms into an on-the-go hanging wardrobe. So the new umbrella is intended to be very portable. It has a little hook that can be attached to a bag or worn around the wrist, and a Velcro front that you can customize with personal patches. It is tiny. I mean, if it's as big as your iPhone, then, maybe fewer people will be caught in a rainstorm without an umbrella. Here's another picture of it. That's compared to someone's hand. Another invention. This is a kind of classy looking porta potty, I would say. But it's not your normal porta potty. It is the world's first mushroom-powered toilet. And it is said that it doesn't stink because the mushrooms, the fungi, flush out the odor. This is a pilot program. Researchers from the University of British Columbia in Canada have developed a myco toilet, MYCO, mushroom, myco toilet. It is the world's first mushroom-powered waterless toilet. The toilet uses mycelia, fungi's root network, to convert human waste into compost. The little myco potty only requires 4 maintenance visits a year. And so the thinking is this could have great potential in parks, remote communities, developing regions. The University of British Columbia, Researchers say they wanted to turn a daily routine everyone knows into a pleasant experience that reminds us of our connection to ecological cycles. Composting toilets, they say, often carry a negative connotation. They aim to create a system that's clean and comfy and very easy to use, so they went with the mushroom potty. The structure consists of wooden panels equipped with a rot-resistant and antimicrobial cedar exterior, a green roof, and a low-power fan for air circulation. Then there's a system inside that separates solid waste from liquid waste, and the solids are directed into a compartment lined with mycelium. And inside, the microbes turn that solid waste into compost, and then the fungi absorb any bad smells. Because fungi are very good at breaking down biomass, including human and animal waste, and produce enzymes that transform material into simpler compounds while supporting microbial communities that accelerate decomposition. So all of this means that there's no added water, no electricity needed, no chemicals required. The research indicates mycelium liners negate over 90% of smelly compounds. So it's the opposite of a stinky porta potty. Once and it's operating at full capacity, the researchers estimate the myco toilet will produce about 159 gallons of soil and 528 gallons of liquid fertilizer a year, turning waste into a solution that can reduce the potentially harmful nature of chemical fertilizers. I thought we didn't fertilize with human waste. I thought that was a thing. And I will say, ever since The Last of Us, this series about a mushroom virus that takes over, I don't really want to feed mushrooms anything human. I don't know. I know that's not science related, but still, kind of freaks me out a little bit. But there's the mushroom potty. All right, shall we do it? Let's go to Hide in Your Cave Monday. It's time. And this one comes from teacher Laurie, and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for this. We're going to Mount Sedum, Sedom, which is the longest salt cave on the earth, according to many. This research team from Israel believes the Malham Cave in the Negev Desert is the longest salt cave in the world, more than 6 miles in total length. The salt cave, they say, is a literal term, that Malham sits under Mount Sedum, Sedom, Sedum, just southwest of the Dead Sea. And its walls are made out of the same kind of salt that we use in the kitchen. They did some radiocarbon dating on that, and it suggests the results that this is about 7,000 years old. Many of the passages in the salt cave are carved by occasional rainstorms that pass through the region. And even now, Malham continues to grow when water flows in and dissolves more of the salt. A team of 80 cavers from 9 countries explored the cave's crevasses. They used measurement tools. Their full map and the results of their exploration have not yet been published, but the team compared the total length, the result of adding up the lengths of all the different splintering passages, with the current record holder. And they say this is the longest salt cave. Ireland's or Iran's Keshem Island salt cave is now then the world's second largest salt cave. It's about 4.1 miles. And again, this one more than 6 miles. So they had cavers working 10-hour days underground, crawling through icy salt, narrow channels, narrowly avoiding salt stalactites and salt crystals to get all these measurements. And they say cavers are still exploring some of the hardest to reach places of the cave, suggesting a bit more distance might be added to the total length. In some cases, super narrow. I mean, people are having to really crawl underneath. Look at that. I mean, could be a lot more underneath that little opening. You got to wedge yourself in there and hope you don't get stuck. Look at the salt stalactites. The formations in here are incredible, made of salt. So thank you to teacher Laurie for this story. And I was looking for another story that she had posted about the competing cave, when all of a sudden I happened upon this one. It is not new. This story came out in January, but it fascinated me nonetheless. This is a story about orange dwarf cave crocodiles. The headline reads this: "The crocs that crawled into a cave ate bats and then started mutating into a new species." The skin of the dwarf crocodiles found living in a cave in Gabon is turning orange from swimming in guano. They don't know how long these creatures have been down there, but genetic research indicates they could actually be morphing into some kind of new species. So you see there the orange crocodile on the left and a forest dwelling crocodile on the right. They looked at crocodiles from each population, the cave population and the forest population, and compared them to see if there were physical differences resulting from their habitats. These orange ones live in complete darkness. They feast on bats and they swim in liquid guano. That's bat feces. And they don't know how many of them there are that are living in these caves or when they got down there and adopted this lifestyle. Could have been thousands of years they've been down there, but they don't know. But scientists say it looks like they might be in the process of evolving into a new species. They were only studied for the first time in 2010. And then there was this 2016 study that compared them to their counterparts in the forest. And there was a number of differences noted between the two. Their diets are very different. The cave crocs feeding almost exclusively on the bounty of crickets and bats that cling to the cave walls. The cave crocodiles were generally in better condition than those living in the forest, likely because of the abundance of prey available and also a lack of predators. They suggest the cave crocodiles lay their eggs at the mouth of the caves, and then the juveniles venture into the darkness. And once they reach adulthood, it's thought that they barely ever leave those caves again. Now, the unusual orange skin seen on these adult crocodiles might be the result, they think, of their time swimming in the bat guano, which is rich in urea. That, according to a conservation biologist from Florida International University. But over time, the exposure appears to have caused chemical bleaching of the crocodile's skin. They have not, to my knowledge, published the genetic analysis of the crocodiles yet, but they suggest that the orange cave crocodiles may be mutating. That one haplotype, a group of DNA variants inherited from a parent, found in these cave crocs was not present in the forest crocs. So, the genetic change evidenced that the cave crocs are evolving into a new species as a result of the isolation and the fact that few individuals come in or out of the cave. They're in the process of becoming something else. They don't know when it's going to happen, how soon, or how long it will take. Is that not the weirdest story? Thanks to teacher Laurie for leading me to the orange croc story. Who knew? And now, also thanks to teacher Laurie, because I was led to this ice cave. From salt caves to ice caves we go. This is the Narusawa Ice Cave. It is a lava tube brimming with 10-foot high ice pillars at the base of Mount Fuji. It is a natural lava tunnel that formed during a violent eruption of Mount Fuji in 864 AD. And every winter, the cave grows these giant ice pillars because of its freezing temperature. I have a picture of the ice pillars. I do. Here you can see them. Yeah. It's cool. And super chilly in there, right? The Narusawa Ice Cave is a lava tube. The lava tubes, of course, we know on this show, are natural tunnels that form beneath solidified lava flows after a volcanic eruption. The lava hardens faster in the top layers of a lava flow where the molten rock comes into contact with cool air. And then in the middle layers where it stays red hot and fluid. As a result, when a volcano stops erupting, the core of a lava flow drains away while the outside hardens, leaving us this empty conduit or cave or tunnel. So the Narusawa Ice Cave is one of several caves formed during this violent eruption of Mount Fuji. It took place on the northeast side of the volcano, with the lava spewing from a new vent called Mount Nagao, rather than from Mount Fuji's central summit crater. The eruption lasted 10 days, and it created this large lava plain, now covered by a forest, dense woodland known as the Sea of Trees. But the blast also split the lake in half, carving out 2 of the 5 of Fuji volcanic lakes. The ice cave is one of the 3 largest caves in this area, along with the Fugaku Wind Cave and the Lake Sai Bat Cave. The Narusawa Ice Cave is about 490 feet long, up to 12 feet high. The company that manages the cave and offers tours is called Wind Cave and Ice Cave. They say the average temperature in this cave is slightly above 37 degrees Fahrenheit due to its particular geology, meaning that any moisture is likely to freeze, especially in the winter. Water that drips from the ceiling of the cave forms stalactites and stalagmites that meet in the middle during the coldest months. Best time to visit Narusawa Ice Cave in the winter or early spring when the ice pillars can reach up to 1.6 feet thick and 10 feet tall. How cool is that? So the caves are a tourist attraction, but they used to use them to keep seeds and silkworm cocoons cool. People carved rectangular blocks out of the ice pillars and then stacked them to create an ice box or refrigerator. They're said to prevent the growth of cocoons and to preserve the quality of seeds and promote budding. They were stored in a refrigerated environment. This cave also holds the remains of ancient trees knocked down by lava flows in the eruption. It sits, this ice cave, about a half a mile east of the Fugaku Wind Cave, which extends much deeper below ground, has some impressive lava formations, and houses unusual moss colonies. That's cool. There's no echo in the Wind Cave because the walls of pure basaltic rock absorb sound. And unlike here in the ice cave, there's no frozen water for sound or waves to bounce off of. That's the Narusawa Ice Cave. I love it. I think it looks really cool. Now, granted, you freeze your tail off in that place, but still, that's pretty cool, right? Yeah. Might need to dress like is it Kenny from South Park, who's bundled up in the giant jacket where your face only like your nose is showing. Yeah. All right. there we have it. It is Hide in Your Cave Monday. And thank you to Teacher Laurie for taking us to the ice caves and the salt caves and giving us a little taste of the orange crocodiles as well. Learn something new every day. Maybe you guys already knew about the orange Crocs. I did not. So that was new for me. I think I have just a moment to tell you about the lotto of the day. And that is a great way to end it because there is someone who bought a scratch off lottery ticket on a whim, as one does with lottery tickets, and managed to win a $2 million lottery prize. You know, sometimes you just see a little something and you think, I'd like to buy that. I have a good feeling about that. Here's it. Here's the scratch off. Gotta love it. This happened in Michigan. This lottery player who bought just a few tickets on a whim ended up winning the $2 million top prize from this scratch off game. He's a 32-year-old man from Wayne County who told the lottery officials in Michigan that he was at Flex Fresh Mart when this 100 times scratch off ticket just caught his eye. He said, I don't usually play the 100 times game, but I bought a few on a whim while I was at the store, and I was scratching off one of the tickets when I saw I matched number 11 with 2 mil underneath. I kept asking myself, what does this mean? Because I didn't believe at first that I really won $2 million. He said he sought a second opinion on the ticket. When my mom looked over the ticket and told me it was a $2 million winner, he said, I was so excited I didn't know what to do with myself. Turning $20 into $2 million is unbelievable and it still doesn't feel real, he said. I don't think it's going to fully sink in until I cash that check. And what will he do with his new 2 mil? He said his prize money is going into savings. How very responsible. $2 million. Yeah. He didn't say how many he bought. I always wonder, like, how many did you have to buy to win that? Maybe nothing. I don't know. This is a gross way to end. Should we end with fingernails? We'll end with fingernails. I'm sorry to do it to you. There is this man, and I don't even know how you go about your life living like this, you guys. This is super gross. This guy sets this record for having the world's longest fingernails. He has not cut his fingernails in more than 30 years. 30 years. Now, for me, nature would take care of that for me. My nails would probably break. My nails grow pretty long, but not, more than what? I don't know. Half an inch, maybe less, before I break them because I'm doing housework or something. But not this guy. This guy's nails apparently are very strong. Whatever he's eating is creating this to happen. I mean, I just look at that and go, why would you want that? What would suggest to you that this is at all attractive? But this Vietnamese man has more than 19 feet worth of fingernails. Imagine all the gross stuff trapped under those nails. They measured at the Guinness record folks measured them, and they are at a total of 19 feet 6 inches long. So Lu Kong Huen earns the record for longest fingernails on a pair of hands, male hands, when his nails were measured at longer than the height of an average adult giraffe. What? Gross. The fingernails originally started, he said, because my father was a shaman, and I wanted to become a teacher, so I grew them to look more majestic. He said he gave up his dreams of teaching at the urging of his father, but he kept on growing his nails. He said, I just kept growing them from then on, and they just kept getting longer. In short, he said, if I were to trim them off, I'd feel really uncomfortable and exhausted, both mentally and physically. Well, they're like magic nails that give you energy. He said maintaining his long nails is a lot of work. If it rains, he says, I have to keep them dry. If they get wet, they will soften and fall right off. In a crowded place, if someone bumps into them, they'll be broken for sure. So I have to protect them. Furthermore, he said, when working, I have to be extremely careful. Climbing up and down the scaffolding, every move has to be deliberate. He said, I mean, really careful. I would think that this might be an excuse not to do work. I'm sorry, I cannot help you lift that. I must preserve my long fingernails. I don't know. I just think this is not conducive with life. You know, you got things to do. You can't be protecting those nails. Plus, oogie. They just give me the oogies. Okay, I'm going to the chat. How are you feeling about this? Are you loving the nails? So feel good piece, Kim? No, maybe not. So he doesn't wash his hands either. Can't get them wet, Mama. So apparently not. Maybe he uses like a little, sanitary wipe on his hands. I don't know. Sandy says, I've actually seen people with nails like this. It's not common, but they're out there, and I can't help thinking about the germs. Yeah, totally. I have a little TMI. I have a little, like a nail brush in my bathroom that I keep, and like I have this little, it's like an elongated, like oval shaped dish where there's some soap, and then there's there's the little nail brush. And if my kids have like dirty nails, I'm like, go use the nail brush, man. That's gross. Anything under the nails gives me the creepies. No. Fungus. Yvonne says he's addicted to his fingernails. No. Mm-mm. How does this guy do his business without cleaning himself? You'd have to have a professional wiper. How would you? Maybe they use the bidet. And so he finds himself, I don't know. I don't know. So gross to think about. Peter, that might be the best comment of the day. Ew. Better him than me. Yikes. Yeah, Heather says, dude definitely has a bidet. You guys have already had this conversation before I got here, huh? Yeah. So what else does the guy do besides grow his fingernails? Probably nothing. Sits around and makes sure they don't break, I guess. Man from the West saying the same thing, as does Calvin. Mm-hmm. Nullifidian says uncut fingernails used to be a status symbol in China. I guess probably because it would mean that you didn't have to work, right? That you were so able to lounge, that your nails were able to grow this way. So it would be a status symbol of the rich, maybe? I'll buy that and guy some nail clippers. Dude. Come on. Yeah. Oh, there's a picture. So there you go. Yeah. Now we need a feel-good piece because this one is leaving a bad taste in our mouth. Oh, no. If you insist, how about we end with a very interesting and yet, I would say, cute animal, and also a feel-good story as well. This is called a binturong. Have you heard of this animal before? It was at the zoo, went missing, this binturong, and he's now been found again. All right, Yvonne, here's your feel-good piece. He's a little binturong. He's cute, right? I think he's kind of cute. He's kind of chunky, this binturong, but he went on the run. This is an Asian animal. It's also known as a bear cat, and it escaped, this creature, from a zoo in England and had a bit of a weekend adventure and returned to the zoo on its own on Monday. This animal's name is Suki. Suki was missing on Thursday from her enclosure at the Fenbell Conservation Project on the Hoo Peninsula in Kent, England. The zoo staff did a days-long search of the area with a team of volunteers and heat-detecting drones, but Suki wasn't located until she came back to the zoo when she was good and ready on Monday morning. Suki is currently being evaluated by the team and the vet, but hopefully will be reunited with her sister Kiki soon. Suki and Kiki. These binturongs are native to South and Southeast Asia. They are listed as vulnerable on the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species. They are also called bear cats, but they are not closely related to bears or cats, so we don't know why they're called that, because they kind of look like a bear and a cat, right? I don't know. They're in the viverrid family, which also includes civets. So binturong or bear cats. But now Suki's back at the zoo. All is well. And now we have our feel good story to wrap it all up. Thank you guys for being here. Huge thank you to everyone who contributes to the show. Again, lots of stories today coming from teacher Laurie, and I just so appreciate the help. There are some of you that are able to commit financially to helping this show stay on the air. And I'm so appreciative. And over the weekend, some of the folks who most recently contributed include, well, Wes today. Thank you so much, Wes, for $5. Donald S. came in with a $30 contribution to the show today. Janet W., Harold H., Kathleen G. Huge thank you to everyone for the contributions. Really appreciate the help. This show is crowdfunded. You can find the Patreon information in the show description every single day and in the About tab here on the After Party Live on YouTube. Okay. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, David K. Johnston will swing by. Also, we'll have Jefferson Graham on the show. And then here on the After Party Live, we're going to take our virtual vacation together for Travel Tuesday. If you have any thoughts about where we ought to go, you can always email me. It is kim@theafterparty.live. And I love to hear from you, kim@theafterparty.live. But between now and then, have a very good day. Make it the best one possible. Oh, and before I end the show, I want to thank Trevor Starr. Kim, just curious, have you talked to Mark about having mods on his show? I have not had a chance to do that yet. I should have done it over the weekend and did not. Clearly, we needed it again today. So thank you for the reminder, and I will do that. And thank you for the contribution. I really appreciate that as well. And I'll let you guys know what he has to say. All right. Okay, everybody, for now, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
That's news to me, Mom.